Ombre can add such a fun and beautiful technique to your card. That's you add it on your backgrounds, a stamped image or a sentiment like today. I'm showing you how to create an ombre look with some of the fabulous WOW products, including their sparkles and flock. This can create such an impact on your card that the sentiment can easily take centre stage. Hi, I'm Verity and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog Pretty Little Button. I am using a couple of the essential sparkles from WOW, as well as a flock. This is the blue flock from WOW Embossing Powder, and I am using an earth sparkles as well later on. First of all, we want to create an adhesive area for the flock to be able to adhere to. And a perfect way for this is to use a double-sided adhesive sheet. So the ones I'm using are from Altenew, but you can use any that you have to hand. And I'm just adding this to the back of a white card panel. For these cards, I'm using the Altenew's Fancy Celebrate die, and I'm first of all die cutting this so that the adhesive is on the front of the die cut, so I can add all my embossing products to the top. So I'm starting off with the Black Onyx Essential Sparkle from WOW. This is a beautiful, lovely, fine black glitter. And I'm just adding this just to the bottom of the sentiment. Remember, we've peeled off the adhesive backing sheet, so we've exposed that adhesive, allowing the sparkles to adhere down. Sparkles doesn't have any embossing powder in it, so you either have to apply it to something adhesive, such as adhesive tape, or use bonding powder. So once I've added a little bit of the sparkles to the bottom, I'm setting it to one side to remove the excess glitter. And then I'm going to use another sparkles. So this sparkles is the Graphite Essential Sparkles, which is a slight grey toned sparkle, which is a beautiful soft colour, a beautiful grey colour, and I absolutely love it, and it blends beautifully into the Black Onyx. So I've only done that to about 2/3 of the die. And lastly, I'm going to use some flock. So this is the blue flock from WOW Embossing Powder, and I'm adding this to the remainder of the exposed adhesive on that die cut. Now, it depends if you don't mind getting your fingers a bit messy, but to try and intensify the colour, I'm just smushing the sentiment back into that flock and then using my finger to really rub the flock down into that adhesive to thicken up the layer and to intensify the colour. If you're not a fan of this, just perhaps use a tool like a spatula just to do that, move it over the top and smudge it down. Once you've done this, you will want to gently heat set the flock ever so slightly. Just use speed setting 1 on your dual speed heat gun just to ensure it stays put. As you can see, you get this beautiful ombre look as it fades into one another, as we haven't necessarily blocked every area off. Now, just to make sure it's all burnished really well, especially those sparkles, I just like to use the backing release from a piece of adhesive sheet just to smush down over the top to really push that glitter in. So to finish this card off, I just dry embossed the Altenew Grid Cover Plate die into a card panel, added the sentiment and also stamped a little sentiment from the birthday greeting stamp set from Altenew with a few sequins to embellish. For the second card, I'm going to just use some embossing powder and some earth sparkles to create the ombre effect, as well as the white of the card. So this hasn't got any adhesive sheet on the front. I did on the back just to make it easier to stick later on. But then I'm using my WOW Clear Ultra Slow Drying Embossing ink and I'm pressing this down over about half of that die cut to apply the ink. Then I'm covering this with some metallic gold embossing powder, using my dual speed heat gun to heat set this. And this can create an ombre effect like this. You could leave it like that, it looks beautiful as is. But I just wanted to step it up a notch a little bit. So I'm going back in with my ink to apply some ink to the bottom. So I'm going in with some bonding powder, and this allows us to stick the sparkles to the bonding powder. Whereas in the previous die cut we used an adhesive sheet. This time the bonding powder, when it's melted, becomes sticky for the sparkles to adhere to. And you just heat set it like you would a normal embossing powder. It will change from white to clear as you melt it and heat it, and as it gets melted and heated, it starts to become sticky. And it will remain sticky for a period of time. It's not going to cool instantly, so this allows you to then sprinkle over some sparkles to adhere to that. So for the sparkles I'm using here, this is Earth Sparkles in Mola Mola, which is a beautiful sort of warm toned soft silver. And it's a really lovely colour that just sits over that gold embossing powder and adds a little sparkle shine to the die cut. It just steps that ombre look up a notch and really adds to the elegance of the die. I added this to a navy die cut using the Altenew grid cover plate die and added the sentiment on the front. I then embellished it with a few sequins and added another sentiment from the Modern Greetings birthday sentiment stamp from Altenew. So what way do you love to use ombre in your cards? Is it like this with a sentiment or a background, or do you prefer to create ombre stamped images? Let us know in the comments below. If you're new here, why not think about subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified when the next video is up. And for 10% discount at the Embossing Powder shop, just use the code you can see on screen. Until next time, happy crafting!